So, ladies and gentlemen, today we are going to present you the presentation for a European Union Constitution. We have developed a card of Europe where by clicking any country, you will see the Constitution. For example, if we are in Ireland, we just to click there and then we will see at once that we have the web for Ireland. So therefore, all you have to do is to look for the third step, and then you see European Constitution, and here you have the document. And then here you could read the full document what we propose for the European Constitution. It is a document worked with Mehr Demokratie, and now we are presenting this all over Europe through the several slides. So then therefore, when we are presenting this is only to see that better in internet, and then maybe afterwards then you want to catch up with the slides. So therefore, let's try to find the slides and we will have a read on this. So our partner, the European Citizens Alliance, is ready to develop this presentation, and you will see that we don't have to forget that we have the Mehr Demokratie presenting this document, Rethinking and Reshaping Europe, proposals for a refunding of the European Union. And the first slide, they tell us that the new Europe, democratic, linked and decentralized. Despite the conflicting interests that may exist in our daily lives, we, the citizens of Europe, share many common tasks and issues. Therefore, we wish you to commonly find solutions and to be able to help each other. We all live in the same house, and European house. Therefore, we have to talk to each other about the construction plan for this house. The construction plan consists of the basic principles and values and the institutional and procedural rules according to which democracy of European level should work. A redesign process of the European Union will only succeed if it differs significantly from the path followed so far. We will need to discuss a redistribution of power between the four political levels: municipalities, regions, nations, states, and European Union. The objective must be to transfer competencies back to levels closer to the citizens. We see both the European Union and the nation states have duties in this decentralization process. The power accumulated at the European level requires a stricter legitimation than before. We therefore propose the following pillars for our European house. The first pillar says that EU constitution adopted by the citizens. The weight, the density, and the frequency of decisions being made at the European level that have a massive influence on all of our lives require political power at EU level within an EU constitution to be better legitimized than today. The citizens' conventions are the builder of the new European Union. The new European is more than a union of governments too reluctant to surrender their power. The new European Union requires a large political mobilization of citizens, civil society, parties, and parliaments, and wide-ranging political debate with a possibility for the citizens to get involved. The citizens would have the final say in a European-wide ballot. The draft constitution will be either accepted or rejected by simple majority. In addition to Europe-wide majority of voters, a qualified majority of all member states is needed to adopt the constitution. For instance, a majority of 2/3, 3/4, or 4/5 would be conceivable. The decision of the figure of this qualified majority would be based on the consideration, legitimation versus practicability. If this double majority is not achieved, the constitution will be rejected and new deliberation negotiation will begin. If the double majority is achieved, the constitution will enter into force in all member states. Subsequently, the member states where the constitution was voted down will have to decide whether they wish to take advantage of the right to live and engage in other contractual relationships with the European Union. Second pillar. Democratically and legitimized institutions. A large and filigree entities such as the European Union requires a well-thought balanced power structure. In our opinion, the classic solutions, presidentialism and parliamentarism, how they are established in the member states in one form or another, cannot simply be transferred to the European Union. The enormous power of directly elected head of state, more or less able to act as a temporary king, less presidentially system like the US, look little desirable for the EU. Powers blockades between the parliament and the president are further price to pay in a presidential system. In the third pillar, we talk about the introduction of the direct democracy. We are lobbying for a citizen initiative and citizen referendum at EU level. They are fundamental citizens' rights in modern democratic states, so they should be part of the new constitution. We believe that direct democracy in particular helps to prevent the European political level shutting itself off from the rest of the society and becoming bureaucratized. The initiative. The citizens must get the mandatory right to put topics on the political agenda at the EU level. They need the right to vote on these subjects if they cannot penetrate the institutional structure of the EU. For this purpose, the European Citizen Initiative should become part of the fully valid European citizen legislation. Thus, the initiators would have the right to strive for a EU-wide ballot if the Parliament had rejected their initiative. And now we are coming to the referendum, which is very important for direct democracy, although for a representative democracy is a little bit bad solutions to solve the problems. So, when a reference to the citizens should retain the final say in the legislative process if a minimum number of citizens demand a facultative EU referendum. A law decided by the EU Parliament will be put at the ballot. It will only enter into force if the citizens approve in a EU-wide vote. A third of the nation states should also be given the opportunity. It should be compulsory for constitution amendments to be put to the vote in the EU citizens' referendum. The double majority. For the EU-wide citizens' decisions, the principle of double majority applies. Thus, in addition to a majority of the voters, a qualified majority of the states must be reached for a referendum and or public vote to be valid. And we enter to the fourth pillar with the centralizations and regionalizations. Such a large entity as the EU, comprising more than 30 people, almost as many member states, countless regions with diverse languages, dialects and cultures, should be as decentralized as possible. An institutional structure of our own type. The European cannot be a nation state, to us decentralization as a fundamental principle of the structure of the state means that the competencies are located at the level at which they are best processed and managed. In a classical nation state, the power is centralized at the highest level and is only reluctantly given back to the lower levels. A joint venture in Europe must be an individual construct, which consistently develops from the citizens, with a decentralized structure. Switzerland and as well an extensive municipal democracy in the Scandinavia are the most appropriate models for this. And we come to the slide voluntary and cooperations and withdrawal. The growing political cooperation between the European states should be voluntary. Thus, it will be possible that only some of the member states can develop a joint policy in certain areas they agree upon. Consequently, when such a policy comes before the European Parliament, only members of Parliament from states involved will vote. For instance, if a law concerns the Euro or Schengen regions, all EU, non-Euro or non-Schengen states would only have an advisory functions. Member states should have the right to leave the new European Union at any time if a majority of their citizens demands this in a public referendum. Agreements or constitutions without the right to leave there are undesirable from a democratic perspective. We understand decentralization is a way that allows any administrative unit, municipalities, counties, regions, and states to separate from a superordinate unit, though through a citizens' initiative and a citizens' referendum. If applicable, they may agree or merge with another administrative unit. So therefore, we have come to an end, and therefore, now we are going to go to the discussion, which we are in another place so as to give you the opportunity to comment what we have shown. In the meantime, then possibly we come here to show you something else, which is, you see what we are going to see. In the meantime, this video so as to finish our presentation. So I can't find this. Let me see. Let me see. So here you have, and then afterwards we will see the discussion in other platform in Facebook.